Avery, whose show is this? And we're live. Welcome, everybody, here to the Lakers Lounge podcast. I'm Anthony Irwin, joined on this fine Wednesday evening, heading into Wednesday night, my time, by Raj Tapalu. Raj is what's your official title? Are you like video analyst for Silver Screen, or are you just a contributor?
Yeah. I'm not sure the exact title. All I know is I'm writing after every game, some film breakdowns and whatever that you want to call that. That's what it is.
Video analyst,
video analyst, writer is how
new guy. How about that?
Yes, yes, official new guy. Yes,
Raj Tapalu, official new guy at Silver Screen and Roll, is joining us today. It's been a little while, so it's nice to have you back in the lounge. Today on the show, we're going to be talking about both the offense and the defense. We have, I think, turned a bit of a corner offensively, where the Lakers are more consistently running stuff with Luka, LeBron, and Austin all on the court at the same time. And I'm curious where that leaves the team's ceiling. We have also, on that side of the ball, seen a team like the Rockets just completely sell out, and it took Gabe Vincent and Dorian Finney-Smith shooting their actual hands off in order to allow the Lakers to win that game. Is that a feasible approach? So we'll discuss that on the offensive side of the ball. But also, Raj actually wanted to talk about the defense coming into this one, where the Lakers essentially are finishing games small, no matter what, no matter who they're playing. John Wooden would say, if you throw your best pitch, or, you make teams adjust to you, but he also never had to play 7-game series. So is that something that the Lakers can actually rely on in a long, hopefully long playoff run? So we'll get to all of that here in a bit. Quick reminder, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that lounge button, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit that like button. It'd be cool if lounge was a but like, yeah, that's the thing, man. Like Netflix has this shit gamed out. Like every single remote has a Netflix button. Could you imagine how good our show would do if like you just hit, there was a lounge button on your keyboard and we pop right up? I feel like we'd be doing pretty well. Anyway, hit that like button. And then if you guys are listening in the morning to the podcast version of the show, hit that subscribe button, hit the 5-star review button. And then most importantly, no matter where you're listening to the show, hit that hit that share button and tell your friends about it and all that good stuff. But yeah, Raj, how you holding up, bud?
I am good. I was thinking about buttons. It was funny. I don't know if you know this, Anthony, but I found this out. Did you know the back of your iPhone, like that Apple is a button? Like you can, like you can program that to do things. Like you can go in your settings. You can actually like mess with it to like where you double tap.
Are you fucking with me right now?
No, I'm dead serious. I am not a.
I'm old enough now to where like a young person can be like, I used to do this to my mom. My mom was a really heavy sleeper.
Okay.
And when she would fall asleep, I'd be like, "Hey, mom, phone's for you," and I'd hand her the remote control for the TV, and she would sit there and be like, and I would tell her, like, she would ask, like, "Why can't I hear anything?" He was like, "No, you got to hit the red button," and she would hit the red button, and the TV would turn on, and she would just sit there like, "Hello." And then the real trippy part was every so often she would actually have a conversation. But apparently now I'm at that age where I'm
like evil technology. What is that?
Yeah, I'm going to test this out. What is this?
No. So you have to go to your settings to do it. So you have to go to your settings and set it up. I'm going to be completely honest with the audience. I have not set this up on my phone, but I saw a viral video of this and it looked pretty real. I just thought
so you might have been you might be old now.
It looked pretty real. It looked pretty honest. I have not gone and checked it out, but no, I'm good. I'm glad I was funny. I was listening to you and Harrison, and so I listened to the shows. Obviously, I'm not watching the whole screen, so I don't know how many exclamation marks were on Harrison's name yesterday that you guys were, I guess, going back and forth on. But I'm glad my exclamation mark is still there, and hopefully that keeps throughout the show, depending on what I bring up.
I should start doing that. Like, I should just make 5 backgrounds with a scale of exclamation marks, and
Right.
it'll work really, really well for us. But it'd be funny if I didn't mention it with a guest who had
Another
no
guess.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, like bring on. It's been forever since I had like Howard on the show, right?
Mhm.
Like if Beck was on and he just like randomly looked over, it's like, wait, I could have swore that had 5 exclamation marks a second ago. Oh, don't worry about it. You're good. You're good.
It just starts at 5 and they lose points as it goes. You start taking off letters from his name too. It's like instead of the
it's
K
like,
at the end,
it
it's
could
like
be like if
BBC.
Matt Moore was on the show by the time by the time we finish up, it's just me sitting here like this. Like he's not even on screen anymore.
Right.
Sorry, Matt. I'm definitely getting a text about that in the morning. But yeah, we'll go ahead and dive on in, and we'll start again with the offense. So, well, first off, I want to know if you agree with the setup of this question. It has looked a little bit more organized when those 3 guys are on the court together. To me, are you willing to take that step with me?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's definitely looked more organized. It looks like they have more actions that they can, run together. I definitely want to ask that to JJ if that's something they're really trying to do. It feels like we've had these halves, Anthony. If you look at Luka's numbers, he was averaging like 22 in the first half, and then it would dip to around 8 or 9 in the second half. And I think a lot of that is both LeBron and Austin aren't in rhythm, and there's just a stagnation when it's one-on-one basketball, which they're all brilliant at. They can all attack switches in different ways, but I'm with you. It feels a little bit more organized. It feels like they're running more stuff together at the end of games. We're at least involving 2 of them together, where LeBron or Austin screen for each other. I'm still waiting for Luka to be involved in screening actions. It feels like Luka's just not going to set a screen. It's like whatever, no matter how the offense is set up.
Yeah.
So it's just he's either going to go stand on the wing.
For me. Oh, LeBron can screen for me. That third step there, like
I'm not setting ball screens, which is again understandable. The player that he is and the usage that he takes up, he just go stand on the side and wait for them. But it does feel like for sure, especially out like the Horns looks that they're going to. There's some optionality that they're starting to get to, and this is something they have to do. They're going to have to find a way to run stuff together where there's just not a turn-based system, because I think both of us have seen there is just a offensive ceiling to that, or even when a guy's cooking like Luka has, it just dies in the second half and teams can kind of really hone in on. But I think they're starting to find some things. And you look at it, this is going to be game 13 or 14, Anthony, of the big 3 playing together. It's still such a short time, only game 7 or 8 of the starters with Rui Hachimura just returning from injury. It feels like, though, I'm with you. It feels like they're starting to find stuff to run together.
I'm not gonna lie, Raj. The whole time you were talking, I was thinking about the Apple button. I want to know.
I'm so sorry. I should have tested that before bringing it to the public eye. Like I should.
I want to know. All right, if you're in the chat, because I can't do this while I'm on the air, and I don't want Raj doing this while he's on the air. Right. If you're in the chat and you have an iPhone, let us know if your Apple button does anything whatsoever. I just found out last year it's a magnet. Like that, I know for sure that I have these, this kind of case here that allows me to charge it magnetically. And that has legitimately improved my life. Like in the car, it's so nice that I just stick the phone on the magnet and it charges automatically.
So this button, you can like set it up to where
there's no way.
So it looked really real on the video, and that video was like there was a lot of engagement to it. It looked extremely real, and so I'm
okay. All right, here it is. We got an answer. Jazz.
Yes,
Jazz
my credibility is.
Yes, 3 2 taps makes the volume go up. 3 makes it go down.
Yeah.
So does that work through? It doesn't work through cases though, right? It needs your finger. It needs contact with your finger.
It might. I mean, your tap probably transfers through the case. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. Jazz,
we'll get this set up. Put a case on it. It just This is great technical support here.
I'm gonna add hashtag Apple and hashtag iPhone to this video, make it go super viral. But anyway, yeah, I see Inside Out here, dude. That's a button.
What have I done?
It's gonna be the whole show.
This is a great Laker team, man. We have a lot to get to. Like this wasn't supposed to dominate.
I spent like a good chunk of my day ranting and raving about fucking ESPN being terrible at covering this team.
Did you know your phone?
And the first thing you come on, and I know the whole time I was tweeting out that stuff, you're like, yeah, you go get him, Anthony.
Yeah.
And the first thing you say is, hey man, did you know that?
No, this is not my fault. You started this with you wanted a Laker Lounge button, and that's how like my brain went to this. You are not putting this on me.
It's a good sign when 11 minutes into the show I have tears running down my cheeks. All right. So yeah, I'm the notion of like Luka setting screens, like that was never something that I was all that hopeful for. Because you want the ball in Luka's hands, especially if you have like three choices, right? And the thing with Luka as a screener is, and this is what makes LeBron the natural screener here, is that LeBron can screen and roll and apply rim pressure, whereas Luka can't quite screen and roll and apply. He can eventually apply rim pressure. It's just going to take him a lot longer to get to the rim than it takes LeBron.
Yeah.
And he's not going to like dunk on fools. You know, he's going to hit the brakes, get some contact, and either get to the line and make the layup. But yeah, I think the part of this that I am most excited about is, you know, like LeBron talked about it, and it's been a topic on Twitter the last couple of days or so, is like very few teams have a third defender who can handle you know, whether it's Austin or LeBron or Luka, depending on like, you know, whether it's they switched or going into a possession. Like very few teams have a third perimeter defender who can. Most teams are hiding somebody, and there's nowhere to hide anybody here with this setup. And I think that's good for like the last few possessions of a game, but over the course of a game, like that's where I want those three. I want the offense to make life easier on those three guys, and leading up to this, like until, you know, right up until they started finally running some more stuff together, that was a legit concern of mine. Now it's like, okay, all right, they have a steady diet for over the course of the game, and then the last few possessions of a game, it's which guy is guarded by the right guy.
Exactly. What mismatch can you attack? And their offense still has not hit. Like, I think those three are like 112. So their offensive rating actually got worse after the Houston game because of how much of it was just kind of a slugfest in terms of a defensive battle. And then you look at the 5-man units, they're still not scoring at the pace. But I think, Anthony, and this has got some pushback, you know, is I think LeBron just has to feel like if you're not going to play a big man, Jackson Hayes, Anthony, played 2 minutes in the second half. 2 minutes of a game like the Lakers wanted. Like, you got to beat Houston. You got to beat them again, actually, next Friday. But you had to at least beat them the other day to have a chance at the 2 seed. I think LeBron has to just morph into this screener big man role and be the bridge between all three of them. He's the one that can like be the, you don't want to say LeBron's the connector. That sounds like a diminishing role for him, but I do. And he talked about it on Mind the Game as well, in terms of like, he's really trying to get, you know, those guys going and be the bridge between them. My question to you, you mentioned late in games. I think this is fascinating because, you know, I've been talking about how I don't think the Lakers have a third option anymore. I think the option is dependent on what the matchup is. Against Chicago, late game, whatever you want to put it, Austin Reaves got the basketball twice, had 2 potential game winners that were taken away because of a shot by Josh Giddey that I've put in a different place in my mind. But also against Memphis, Anthony, our late game was Austin LeBron pick and roll like it was when was the Luka trade? 4 months ago, whatever it was, 3 months ago, whatever it was.
Yeah.
That was our late game offense. And I think that's interesting. I think that's fascinating. And there's this idea of, do you go down just with your ship with the ball in the technical quote unquote best player, or do you go down with the best option of what's working? And I think that's an interesting thing that they're gonna have to figure out. I'm not saying Luka or LeBron or Austin or any of them are having issues yet, but I do think late games in the playoffs, people are telling me that's not gonna happen in the playoffs. I disagree. I think there's a possession in the playoffs where maybe Austin's the one that gets the ball at the end of the games. Where are you with that? In terms of the sharing the ball at the end of games for those 3?
It all comes down to Luka.
Okay.
He's going to dictate his comfort with that. And the first time that the Lakers do that in a really, really big game where it's LeBron and Austin running a pick and roll while Luka stands off to the side, his response to that, either as he walks back to the huddle after the game, especially if it doesn't work out, that's going to dictate how often they go back to that well. And I'm with you. I think that it is the kind of thing that you figure out over the course of a game. Raj, we have never, ever had this kind of conversation where you can positively say, optimistically say, it's a good thing that we don't know who was going to finish those games, because historically, if you had multiple options to close out a game, that meant that you didn't have an option. The cliche in football is, if you have 2 quarterbacks, if you have more than one quarterback that you're thinking about using, you don't have any quarterbacks. And with the setup that the Lakers could potentially have here, where it's LeBron James, could potentially have, will have, where it's LeBron James and it's Luka Doncic, we have never seen a team have 2 options that great before. So we are in completely uncharted territory with how this is going to look. The closest thing I would say to it would have been the KD Steph Warriors.
Right.
But the difference there was KD was at the peak of his powers, and he was a better individual scorer by a lot than Steph. So he was just a better option down the stretch than Steph was in those moments. Over the course of a game, I think Steph was probably your more efficient option A, but down the stretch of a game, it was put the ball in the hands of a guy who we know can break anybody either off the dribble or create a nice open look for themselves. In this case, the Lakers have 2 of those guys, and if not legitimately,
I'd argue 3,
yeah, because of who that third guy is going to be guarded by.
Absolutely. And I think the interesting, you mentioned the Warriors, and I think the difference here, and I'm not making any comparison between those 3, but the difference to me, Anthony, is Steph can obviously get the ball and be on ball, but the point guard is Draymond on that team. He's the one that's facilitating and kind of deciding where the ball goes. Clay is another guy you don't really give the ball to at the top of the key and say, go run a ball screen. Still not that guy today either. But the Lakers have 3 players who historically operated from the same point of the floor. Austin likes to attack from the top. Luka likes to attack from the top. And Luka and LeBron maybe the 2 best ever, that ever walked this earth to attack from the top of the key. And then Austin obviously has grown into the player that you can give the ball as well. That's, to me, the adjustment they're going to have to get to. And you mentioned this is going to Luka's, I guess, excitement about that will be dictated by the success. But Anthony, this has happened already. In the end of the Chicago game, we gave Luka the ball and he got 2. Well, no, wait, hold on. He got 2 chances to attack Nikola Vucevic.
That's very different, Raj.
Okay, but then
a regular season game against the Chicago Bulls is very different than
game
1 of 4 games that you can lose in a playoffs and then go home.
But the Memphis game was a huge game. That was a massive game for playoff implications, and a game that they needed to win to kind of rise in the seeding. And same thing in that one. where end of the game, they felt like the best matchup to attack was to have Austin Reaves screen for LeBron James, and they got an and one off of it that sealed the win.
Yeah.
It put us up. I
Well, and I think to your point, it's really important to note this. When they have tried it out, it has worked.
It's a good
Even in
point.
that Bulls game, it worked. It
It
just
did.
like LeBron had a stroke at the end of the game, and Josh Giddey hit a ridiculous shot. In the
Right.
Memphis game when they ran that. And by the way, that's been their bread and butter. And I actually think
Exactly.
I actually think this will be interesting to watch for next year, right?
Mm.
Is like right now, I think the explanation is, hey, Luka, I know that you're Luka effing Doncic, but we have also had incredible success running LeBron James, Austin Reaves pick and rolls. And
That's so
that
insane
has
that you're saying
that
that.
has
Like,
to be yeah, that
that's
has
such
to
an
be
insane
a part
conversation.
of our diet, right? Like it'd be like all right, so Aaron, our mutual friend Aaron, friend of the show, right, is a personal chef. I think most people know that, but
Mhm.
do you think when Aaron goes over to a party, he cooks every time he goes?
No, don't.
No, right? Like there are parties that he goes to, and he's the best option in terms of
I
putting food on plates. He's the best option in that room, probably. But there are still times where it's like, no, man, get get out of the kitchen, like come
Sure.
hang, And I kind of think that's how Austin and LeBron are kind of looking at Luka, where it's like, you are the best option offensively for us individually. However, man, you just joined this party. Take a seat, man. Take a possession off. You're good.
Yeah, which is funny. That's just never how Luka operated. Like since he was probably 14 years old, he's probably
Yeah.
never operated that way. Obviously, he's given Kyrie the keys at times to also drive that car. But at the end of the games, it's Luka Doncic, and that's where I find this so interesting. I think we're going to open up some doors where Austin's able to screen for Luka as well and get him going. And the
I
part of
need
this,
Austin to actually make contact on the screens that he sets for Luka. For whatever reason, he only sets ghost screens for Luka, and I don't
yeah,
know if that's by design or whatever. It's a little bizarre, but
yeah,
it's
oh yeah,
uh
I gotta take a look at that. I think they also switch a lot of those actions. Maybe that's
yeah
why he's kind of ghost screen or he's slipping it. And Luka, like to be fair, Luka likes to attack the opposite center. Like he's like that's
yeah
the guy he likes to hunt. Which if you do that, that takes LeBron and Austin kind of out of the play, and sometimes that's the right decision too. You have a big
mhm.
man that Luka really loves to attack. Like I think in a potential Clipper series, we're gonna see a lot of whoever Zubac is guarding coming up because that's the guy that Luka likes to dance against. But like bring this conversation full circle. That's where I think there's got to be some intentionality to like having actions where all three of them are together, and that's a challenge with whatever games are left. But yeah, it's fun and interesting to watch, and I do think like Austin understands what's going on too. I don't think it was a coincidence that when Luka and LeBron sit, Austin goes absolutely berserk. Like had like a 45-point game against Indiana. Had other huge performances. So I'm interested to see how they put this all together. But before the playoffs start. But it's fun and it's interesting to have three guys, Anthony, that you feel comfortable. It's interesting watching against Houston, which is to your point, where if you don't have a main guy, you don't have anyone. Kind of if you have
Yeah,
like three guys
that's
you can go
Houston.
to, you don't have anyone. Like,
Yeah,
oh, let's try Sengun. Oh, all right, let's try Jalen Green.
yeah,
Amin Thompson. And they're like, all right, well that didn't work. Like you're up next, and like
yeah.
the Lakers are like, all right, we know exactly what we're going to, and I think that's a great place to
Well,
be.
where does that leave the ceiling then? Like, do you think because we're gonna ask the question, maybe this is better off asked later in the pod. But like we're gonna ask a question about the sustainability of this defensive approach that the
Mhm.
Lakers are taking late in the games. And if that doesn't work, is the offense does it have a high enough ceiling to carry them if the defense, doesn't come through late in games?
I think it does if they're again able to involve actions with all three of them together, whether one screen for another. I do think the turn-based system where Luka attacks his matchup and then LeBron attacks his, like I think there's just a ceiling to that. It's very much again, not comparing them, but it's very much how Harden and the Rockets kind of had their attack, where even when they had the superior backcourt, it was like Harden and Chris Paul, they would kind of take this turn-based approach, this Murray ball approach to it. And I think there's ways to involve all three of them. And I just have a hard time believing, like, again, the numbers are what they are. It's just watching it from eye test. Like, I don't think this team is losing because of their offense. Like, I'd be extremely shocked if a team with Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and what Austin Reaves bring you and the way they're playing and the shooters they have, if this team loses because they can't score enough, that'd be pretty surprising. My main concern is on the other
That would
end,
hurt,
which will
honestly.
Right. Yeah. Like, imagine
Like
oh,
how
man,
much offense do you need?
right. Like, you're gonna get us, like, those three should give you 80 like a night. I remember listening to Bill Simmons, who still can't believe that this trade happened.
Still
But
so angry. Yeah.
right. And he was talking, yeah, it wasn't on this pod, but one of the pods. He's like, if you're gonna get 80, I think they had like 80, 30, and like 15 from three guys, you're gonna win a lot. Like, that just gives you a high floor. And that's where I'm at with the offensive end. At least I don't think they'll have issues scoring no matter what team they play.
Yeah. I don't think it'll always be as pretty as we would maybe like it to be, but the part of it that I am actually most intrigued by is we know playoff games are inherently close, especially the deeper you go into the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
And having a team that I am so confident in their ability to create an open look, whether they knock down the look or whatever is obviously different. But this is about as confident as I've ever been in any Lakers team in their ability to create a good look in a close game in the postseason. And that's really saying something, seeing as Kobe is behind you and Kobe's behind me.
Yeah,
but I this is just so different. It's I'm the Chris Paul Harden thing I think is pretty close to what we're talking about here, but both Harden and Paul are still like chapters before LeBron and Luka. They're just it's a completely different conversation.
100%. Chris Paul also like 6'1", 6'2", Luka's 6'7", 6'8", right, or whatever he is, and LeBron's the size he is. And Chris Paul at that time in Houston wasn't the scorer that he was on the Clippers. Yeah, Anthony, like, they're gonna get a good shot. Whether that shot goes in, to your point, we can't control that. I think Dorian coined the term butt naked open. Like, that's how open these shots are. I think that's a reason you're seeing Gabe kind of get into his offensive rhythm. I would just be shocked, again, if they're not able to score enough. They're going to get a good shot every single time down if they run their offense. Teams are blitzing. Luka Doncic super early. And I think we've kind of discussed this on this pod so much that you blitz Luka Doncic and LeBron's, and he talked about this again on the Mind the Game pod. You get me in a 4-on-3, and it's interesting hearing LeBron talk about himself in that way, but he's like, you get me in a 4-on-3 situation, the advantageous situation that I've never had before. That's going to be dangerous for the defensive end. So I'm with you. They're going to get an open shot.
I'm sure you watched the Nuggets Wolves game last night, right? You did.
Oof, absolutely.
Do you need a cigarette? Like, you good?
that was like that. That's what you watch for. That's like,
it was an incredible game.
No sport is touching that to me. Like, no sport comes close.
Well, if the Dodgers go 162-0, that's pretty close.
That's not, but that doesn't like
on the table.
Yeah, but that's not for the sport. That's amazing for Dodgers, like us Dodger fans. But that wasn't even a Laker game. All right. Well, okay.
But no, the reason I bring up the Wolves game is because twice down the stretch of that game, the Nuggets sent a blitz at Anthony Edwards, and it got the ball out of his hands. And twice the ball rotated over to Julius Randle. One time it created a step back 29-footer, and the other time,
Nikhil Alexander 2-point jump shot to
right,
terrible offensive,
right, and it's like the difference here being, all right, you blitz Luka, and like you said, it's LeBron waiting on the other end of that pass,
right,
or you blitz LeBron and it's Luka waiting on the other end of that pass. You overload the court to defend both of them if they're on the same side of the court. There's Austin on the weak side, and it's just the combinations and iterations of ways that the Lakers can go at teams is pretty immeasurable. And that's why the offense against Houston wasn't particularly pretty, right? They had like 106 offensive rating, I believe, in that game. It wasn't particularly pretty, but they generated something like 30,
a lot of good looks.
35 open looks in that game. And it's just like that's pretty offense statistically. That's what you want your offense to do. And now, are we all that comfortable with those shots coming from Gabe and from Dorian as to the extent that they did? Maybe not, but it's also like those guys are good shooters. Gabe, especially now, is apparently just a knockdown shooter. So to a certain extent, it's like, yeah, just keep on creating open looks.
I think Dorian, Gabe to a lesser extent, because Gabe has a lower floor of what a good shot is for him. But to me, Dorian's shot attempts is kind of a representation of how good of an offense you're running. Like if Dorian gets 11 threes, that means like you created really good looks, or your ball movement
he's not taking contested threes.
Exactly. Yeah, he's taking, wide open shots, and he's getting them. He hit 6 threes last night or whenever that was, and Gabe also hit 6 threes. And to me, that's a representation of good offense. Just, focusing on the, you and Harrison talked, we're not going to do this on this pod, but you talked about the playoff matchups. Like watching that game, it just showed two things to me. Number one, when you have a superstar that's under whatever, 25, 26, there's a level of like baseline you're going to hit every night where you're just never out of it. I'm watching Anthony Edwards. I'm like, man, like to have that on your team, it just doesn't take you out of game. And then I'm like, oh yeah, we have Luka Doncic. Like he's also even better than that guy. And number two, there is just no team that doesn't have a superstar that can hit a level in the playoffs. Like the Western Conference is just so stupid. Like you guys went through it, but Kawhi, obviously with what he's turned into, Steph had 50 and somehow got overshadowed because Jokic had 61. Anthony Edwards last night had 20 in the fourth quarter in incredible overtime. The West is just an absolute mall. So there's no team that you can just, unless you luckily get Houston, which I don't know how big a possibility that is, or Memphis. Other than that, man, the West is going to be an absolute just dogfight going.
I'm like praying that the Lakers get to play Memphis in the first round. Like legitimately, it's like keep my family safe, keep my loved ones safe, keep, heal the world, all that stuff. Also, can the Lakers play Memphis in the first round? They got
it. Like a 2-7.
We won't, in no particular order, also.
right, yeah. Exactly.
So let's talk about the defense then. The Lakers have been basically a small ball team. They have slowly but surely just become this small ball team where like Jackson Hayes got into foul trouble the other day, and I think his sub was already at the table by the time by the time he got into that foul trouble. I see a lot of people concerned. I saw it in the chat. People are concerned. Yeah, here we go. Alan saying that he's concerned Vando won't be playable. I don't think it matters because, like, as long as those 5 guys are available, that's who JJ is going to lean on. And everybody outside of that, outside of LeBron, Luka, Austin, Rui, and Dorian, everybody outside of that is like, garnish on the plate. Now, how do you feel about that defense, though? Dorian has played well as a small ball 5. But are you nervous that it might not be sustainable?
Yeah, so sad just seeing Vando's name there. Just if you could just make some layups, like his effectiveness would rise so much. But no, with the small ball, I think how JJ looks at it, and how I think just if you look at conceptually the team and you rank Anthony the talent, like I think you'll get that 5, right? Obviously the big 3, and then the most talented players after that are DFS and Rui, who he's really committed to as your small ball look. I do have concerns. I wish that was something that wasn't our just full on, fastball, as they say in baseball. Like I wish that wasn't our main pitch, but it feels like that's what it's going to be. I'm concerned on the defensive end, but I think it kind of plays to some of the strengths. Like we're going to trap a lot. We're going to blitz a lot. We're going to kind of switch everything. And if you're going to do that, again, I think Jackson has a place. I don't like that I don't know, his leash is 3 minutes in the second half. Like, that's against a Houston team that was big. They're playing Sengun and Adams, and JJ
Yeah.
still
It
went.
feels like the bigger other teams go, the smaller JJ
Right,
goes. Like, he's like,
right,
"Oh, you got 2 centers out there? Well,
yeah,
watch this." I
right.
do wanna be clear, though. JJ going small with a front court of, um,
LeBron, yeah,
LeBron at center and then Dorian and Rui. Yeah, that's a small front court in terms of traditional protecting the rim, but I still contend that's a huge lineup
massive.
because you
Mhm.
have Austin at point guard.
Yeah,
He's
6'5".
6'4", 6'5", and most point guards range out at 6'1", 6'2", 6'3" is a tall one. And then you have Luka at shooting guard is like Yao by shooting guard
Right.
standpoint. And then from there you have like Rui is a big small forward. LeBron, I think, is a big power forward, and then Dorian is a small center. But if everybody else is big, it's small ball because of who is playing center. But on average, I would say it averages out to regular ball.
Right, you're huge everywhere else, and then the points that you would lose from not having a center on the floor for rebounding. Luka and LeBron might be one of the best rebounding forwards that play. They both get double digit rebounds very consistently. And again, if you're gonna switch everything, then having Jackson out there, you lose that anyway because he'd be on the perimeter. You don't get the rim protection anyway, and this kind of to me moves LeBron again like the conventional big man responsibilities don't change. You're just taking out the player that would usually take those roles. And now LeBron has to play that role. Rui has to take that role. And credit to Rui, man. I'm watching these games and his box out. I don't know why he just refused to box out last year. But this year, this guy is going and grabbing bodies and really being physical, going up with two hands. Anthony, remember Rui would go up with like one and just the ball
Yeah.
would slip. He's going up with two hands, grabbing boards. So he's really been engaged on that end as well. I think it's hurting some of his offense, but and he's still getting back to wherever he's never going to be 100% from his own words, which is strange to hear a player say
Yeah.
a few days back. But yeah, but I think the small ball's working and the numbers back it up. They're a plus 10 net rating so far in 70 minutes with the lineup that we figure will close consistently, and they've closed the last games. To me, the last few games, Anthony, are super insightful. Those are games that 100% mattered, and the coaching staff and I think all teams, you saw Jokic not come out of the game in the second half in a double overtime. These games all matter in the Western Conference to every team. And the Lakers are leaning in on this group. I do think there's I think Luka just needs a lob threat, and I just don't see one in that unit unless LeBron James again just goes through some other transformation where he's flying, which could happen. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I would like a lob threat with it. I know that's the offensive end and we're focused on the defense, but I just think that helps both because there's a level of when you're getting shots at the basket, you're able to get back on defense and match up better instead of these long shots that turn into long rebounds and guys like Jalen Green just beat us in transition, which again teams will pick on in the playoffs. But I think it can work. I just again I would like a little bit more of a longer leash for a guy like Hayes. And Anthony, is my Coloco dream just dead? Is that over? Like, should I just give that up? Is that done? I would have liked it to continue. Is it the meme where the guy puts the hand on the, on the shoulder? It's like
Yeah.
it's
Like,
it's time.
yeah.
It's time.
So the thing, I think essentially what we're saying here then is that we're okay with, like, I'm actually fine with this being their unhittable pitch,
Okay.
but the thing with most unhittable pitches is that they don't get thrown as often because it's what's called your strikeout pitch, right? So you
Okay.
want your like steady fastball. I wish that the Lakers had a steady fastball that wasn't also their out pitch,
Mhm.
Now you can get by with that if you're a closer because you're only throwing 3 outs, hopefully.
Mhm.
But if you're a starting pitcher and you're going through lineups multiple times, you do need a reliable fastball for the, for you to be able to throw 70-80% of the time. And then you have another pitch there that you throw, 15 or so percent of the time. And then you have this just haymaker knockout curveball that you throw every so often, and that every time you throw that pitch, they're going to the batter is going to swing and miss. And like I wish that and in this case, like statistically, the Lakers have that kind of a pitch. They have that knockout curveball pitch. They just don't have as reliable a fastball as we would like for it to be. They're kind of a junk ball pitcher. But
Right.
the question being, can they get by that way in the postseason? Man, that's a great question. I want to say yes. For the sake of like, a lot of times the postseason just becomes about which team does something that the other team just doesn't have an answer for. And in this case, if that 5-man lineup, if they defend their asses off, they get out in transition, and then when they are in the half court, you have Luka, LeBron, and Austin, running sets together. If that's their pinnacle, if that's the Lakers at their absolute best, that I think is going to be pretty difficult for teams to reach that level of basketball. And if you can get there often enough, you can win series that way.
And the question to me, and this is all, again, is year 22, what it is. Can LeBron be Draymond on defense and, do all the other big man stuff and be the threat at the basket? Like Rui, I think, has his baselines that he, roams around and gets some baseline dunks, but that's all off of dribble penetration from Luka Doncic, Austin Reaves, and LeBron. But I think LeBron can give you a rim presence that none of the other guys can do. This ties into the conversation we had earlier in terms of how to have all three of them involved. And another way, Anthony, is putting LeBron in the post has been another nice bridge. Luka can throw him in a post entry. Austin can throw him a post entry. And that just is another place the Lakers can draw 2 or 3 defenders without it, again, just being at the top of the key and being really stagnant offensively. But
we're actually seeing Luka in the post a little bit too.
Luka as well. Yeah.
He's getting there in the post. And I actually, the thing that I enjoy the most about Luka being in the post is teams knowing that they should help. And you see this with LeBron too. But LeBron, it's like, no, we have to help, because if we don't, that's an and one. It's not just a bucket, it's an and one. But teams are because Luka getting in the post is a relatively newish concept with what the Lakers have been doing. And so, like, Luka will get the ball in the post, and you'll see the weak side player who should be trapping, should be double teaming, like, but I don't. Yeah. And then as soon as they take the one step that like means that they are now committed to sending that double, Luka just boom, make the right pass over the top, and they're like, "Fuck! I knew I shouldn't have." Like, dang it! Like, it's like watching kids or people play that game where you have the 3 cups and you have like the little rubber ball or something under one of the cups, and you move the ball, and you're like, I think it's this one. I think it's this one. I think it's like, damn it! I knew I should have done that one. Shit. Dang it, Luka! Like, it's so funny to watch him in the post because teams have legitimately no idea what to do with him.
He has a amazing turnaround pirouette shot as well in the post that he really likes to go to. And again, in the post is one of the best places for him and LeBron to play make. Did you see them hot potato Anthony Fred VanVleet? It was just the meanest thing I've ever seen, where Fred VanVleet was trying to hide everywhere he can, and he had him on like LeBron. He's like, all right, like, use his low center of gravity. LeBron, like, nope, back down, score. Then next thing, it's like, all right, I'm on Luka. Luka's like, back down, score. It's like to your point, this whole pod, it's gonna be tough to hide an undersized guard. And Fred VanVleet's actually like
It'll be Steph. It'll be Ant. Like, I think Ant will get picked on. It'll be like, and these are all, by the way, guys who, if you make them work hard on the defensive side, it affects their offense. And these teams, I don't know if they can withstand their offense being messed with like that. So, yeah, the post aspect of this, I think, is the big variable that I think just breaks. You're not a TV guy, but in the good place, time in the show called The Good Place.
Mhm.
Time isn't measured like a linear calendar. It's called the Jeremy Bearimy, and it's literally like a cursive. It looks like somebody wrote out Jeremy Bearimy, and there's an I in there somewhere, and
Mhm.
there's a dot in the I, and the one of the characters goes like, I was following. I understand time is this non-linear thing up here, whatever, but that broke me. The dot in the I broke me. And I think
Right.
that's essentially where defenses are going to be, where it's like, all right, dribble handoff, pick and roll, stuff like that with those three guys. That's going to be really difficult. And then when you get those guys in the post in a little bit of space on the wrong guy, that's when defense is like, see
Right.
ya. We'll see you
Yeah.
next season. You know, like it's
Yeah.
just it's going to be brutal for teams to figure that out.
And Houston has like a double whammy because, in my opinion, if your big can't switch, like you're dead. Like you're dead against this team,
Yeah.
in my opinion. And they have Sengun, and like bless him, he tried his best, but they were trying to have him hedge the ball screen, and Luka just brilliantly just pushes that hedge as far as possible. That's where Dorian gets all those open threes. And yeah, that's why I think Houston's a pretty good matchup for us. And Memphis can switch a bit as well, but they also play some guys that it's easy to kind of involve in the screens. Yeah, like again, this whole point, I just have really very low concerns about the offense figuring itself out eventually. Again, LeBron's also not revving, I think, at 100%, as sometimes it's not revving at all, as we saw in the end of the Chicago game, but he's not revving fully. And I think when he does, that's when this team really completes, because he's the bridge to me to allow Luka and Austin to kind of walk together on offense without it just being a turn-based thing.
Yeah, like I think like if we were to try to figure out like the car term of what that 30-second interval for LeBron was, that was like those videos of cars on ice just skidding completely out of control, where like you completely helpless to whatever is going on around you.
Is
That
that
was
just like
wild to watch.
Is that like parking your car and getting out, like in the middle of the freeway, being like, "Yeah, we're done." Like, I know I'm not at my destination yet, but I can walk the rest of this. Like, I'm just not driving anymore. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was
We have
completely
a
done.
in my neighborhood, there's a turnabout. There's, the little circle instead of
Right.
the four-way stop sign. It's a little turnaround thing.
Mhm.
And there are people in my community who just don't understand the concept. Just it is beyond them.
It's like their 10th time at the space. It's just still.
And there's a Facebook page dedicated to the community that I live in.
All right.
And I went into the Facebook page one day and I just screen grabbed how you're supposed to drive through a turnabout. And I just put it there's like for nobody in particular, not signaling anybody out here. But if you're looking for how to drive, or if you have family in your household who are looking for like how to manage that thing, here you go. Because there have been, Raj, multiple times where somebody goes left on this thing. Everybody, there's no reason to make a left turn into that circle. If you are, you fucked up. And LeBron made like 5 left turns. he's like he tried to go straight through, ran
Mhm.
into the little garden that's in the middle of the thing, reversed out of the garden, turned left, hit a sign. That was LeBron's end
Yeah.
of the Chicago Bulls game. That was crazy to see.
So you've done a few things, Anthony, on the show that show your age a little bit. To me, posting in a Facebook like community group might be the thing that was the most where I looked at and went, "Man,
That is an old
that's
man.
that's a few years down, hopefully." Like that's
Yeah.
that's quite a few years down. Posting in a
It was
Facebook
Raj,
community group is so past where I'm at.
I'm telling you, uh, it's the little things that set me off, right?
Right.
It's the little things that just kind of nag and go and go and go. And I'm like, stop it, stop. And then eventually, if I see, if it just, Jen, I guess so. I'm a Scorpio. I'm not into those things at all. I'm not into
The zodiac signs. Yeah.
zodiac, anything like that. But Jen said, so I'm a Scorpio, and she
Okay.
kind of explained like what the general print, like why people don't necessarily trust Scorpios. It's because we sting, like we get backed into a corner, and we just get pricked and prodded and get annoyed just enough, and eventually you snap. And in my case, in this case, like snapping was
being helpful.
Posting a graphic on how to handle a roundabout, like, or a turnabout. I don't even know what to call them. Driving through that thing comes so natural to me. I don't even know what it was. I don't even know what to call them, but everybody knows what I'm talking about. And the three people who all happen to drive Teslas, like they have no idea how to handle this thing. And it's like, just put it in auto drive. Let the car handle it for you. It's doing better. It would do better than whatever you're trying right now. Anyway.
The people who are on that like did not see that. Like they did not see your post.
Totally
the people you're discussing here that can't drive through that are not on Facebook community posts. So I'm sure whoever
I have somebody sitting there at home scrolling through Facebook like, oh, that's
right.
How I do it.
Right. You think they took that well? They're like, oh yeah, that's extremely helpful. There we go. Let me put time and effort into this out of my day.
It was a very popular post. I'll have you know.
Got a few likes. And do they do like emoji reactions on Facebook now? Where
it was a lot of likes and a lot of laugh emojis.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. Went viral in my Bryson community Facebook page.
It's got to be the oldest thing you've ever said. Where it's like, yeah, went and posted a picture of how to drive in my Facebook community. I showed them.
Felt good, Raj. I'll let you know. All right.
Oh man.
Let's go ahead and wrap up here with the super comment, which means we get to play. My bad. I see Raj die a little bit every time. I die a little bit inside every time I play that.
You've explained that 5 times and I'm still going like, it just makes no sense.
I played it today for Pete. Like he and I had like a brief meeting you saw, and I played that clip because I was trying to show him how to use StreamYard. And and I just showed, he's like, why did you play that clip?
It just doesn't fit anywhere. It makes no sense. It's just the most random clip of Kirby. And
all right, here's the one I was actually looking for. I thought about playing it again. All right, so Arthur Johnson writes, Raj, the Lakers have no patience for youth development. I was hurt to see them move Dalton, but seeing how poorly he's used, I hope he goes elsewhere.
Okay.
I don't know how you're supposed to use a shooter who can't shoot.
He's played, but he's got better. I think he's starting to play.
But I don't know if there's a right way to, like, if the thing that somebody is best at is their shooting, then like, and he's inconsistent with the shot, it makes it difficult to use that guy.
I think the issue is also what the Lakers need kind of isn't shooting. They're getting that from other places. So what we actually need is what Jordan Goodwin has brought. And that's why Jordan Goodwin has surpassed Dalton in the rotation, plays more than he does, has passed him in minutes played, recently is starting games when, the starting shooting guard is out. I think that's what happened. But Dalton seems like he's got his groove back. Like it feels like he's shooting a little bit more with confidence. And I'd like him again, he's not going to be in your 8-man rotation, Anthony, but I like Dalton as a throw in as a 9th, and let's see if you're hot that night. And if not, then you don't have to play. If you're getting destroyed defensively, then you don't have to play. I think the no patience for youth that Arthur is discussing is when I talked about Koloko, which I think Koloko is what he is. I don't think this is a guy that's going to change too much. I just think he brings a level of conventional basketball to the team that JJ clearly disagrees with because he's not playing. But yeah, he has like 4 games left on the
Yeah.
season that he can go in. So
The Coloco thing, this is one place where I hope we see some growth from JJ in the offseason, where I think he has a very narrow vision for centers. And if you aren't that, then I'd rather play LeBron. And I think part of it too is that, like, when somebody is already kind of pre-wired to want to play somebody like LeBron or Dorian, and then you give that person who is pre-wired that way LeBron and Dorian, that's what he's going to do, you
sure.
know? And that's, I think, why we saw so much excitement from JJ early on, because I think he would like to play Dalton. It's just that Dalton hasn't shot the ball as well as they need to for them to rely on him. I would, here's what I'll say to Arthur, and I think it's fair to be concerned about the lack of player development. What I'll say is I think Dalton is in for a pretty special year next year.
Mm.
Either that or he gets traded for Mark Williams again. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. That, I think, is going to do it here for this episode of the Lakers Lounge podcast. Thank you, everybody.
I had one last thing. There's a gripe. I listened to you and Harrison show yesterday, and you guys were discussing the people you want to play or don't want to play. And last year at this time, I mentioned that I wanted to play Denver because I thought, let's get him out the way, and I thought we matched up. Harrison went on and decided to say that Denver is cooked after Jokic had a 61, 10, and 11 game.
No, he said that before he had the 60.
Oh, it was before. No, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Was it
Because
before?
we recorded yesterday during the day,
gotcha.
and then the game took
All
place
right.
at night.
But I mean, still, like, testing fate that way is just like calling Denver cooked after all the stuff y'all gave me of last year. You guys wanted to avoid Denver.
Yeah, because Darvin Ham was coaching the Lakers last year.
Okay, but I mean, still, us and Denver's record aren't that far. Like, I think we're actually tied in the record before I think they're going to lose tonight. They're going to lose tonight against San Antonio.
They're making a bit of a comeback. Yeah, they were down by 20 earlier. Now it's 71-62. San Antonio is up in the third. Yeah.
Okay. I thought that was pretty insane to say Denver's cooked. Now they don't look.
I had them on my list.
They don't look great, but just testing the universe that way, which there's still a very real possibility that is the matchup in round 1. I was like, man, and
it'll be Nikola Jokic against Jackson Hayes
and Jamal Murray, who seems to hit a game winner every time these two teams play, just because.
Yeah,
he'll be terrible throughout the whole year, and then he just hit a game winner on us. I think the last time we played, didn't he hit a game winner?
Yeah.
Or the time before?
Yeah.
Maybe
he got that's his one for the year.
He had 2 in the playoffs last year.
I know. Look, man, take it up with Harrison.
Okay.
I had Denver second on my list.
Okay.
I would rather. I literally said I will not trust that Denver is dead until I see their mutilated corpse like being burned. Know, and like I need to see their ashes so that I can pee on them. Like that's the extent that until I see that, I will believe that Denver is terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. I was, shocked to hear him call them cooked. I was like, oh man, don't want those words to come back in the universe.
Yeah. Well, if it happens, we know who to blame, right?
Yes.
At HM Fagan on Twitter. Find that guy. All right. With that in mind, that is going to do it here for this episode of the Lakers Lounge. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, Raj, for hopping on. The Lakers are in action tomorrow night against the Warriors. And right after the game, we will pop back in here and, try to analyze whatever it is we see there, because the Warriors are one of those kind of bogeyman teams that I'm like, it's weird. I am not as nervous about OKC as I should be,
Mhm.
and I am more nervous about Golden State and Denver than I think I should be.
I'm with you. I think people are, going strength of schedule on their 18-2 with Jimmy and Steph. They look pretty terrifying to me. And Jimmy
Yeah.
Butler in the screen and roll game, just him and Steph as a pairing, just they have a level of offensive versatility that they just have not had. Going from Wiggins to Jimmy Butler, they look real.
Shocker. Who could have said? I don't know why it took so long for them to make that trade. It was there all year. Like,
Yeah.
Anywho. Yeah. So we'll analyze that game, and that will round out the rest of the week. Oh no, we have Lee for our first episode Friday of the Passport now existing on this feed. So keep an eye out for that as well. And until the next time you guys hear from us, I'm Anthony Irwin. That was Raj Palu. This has been the Lakers Lounge. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button. And until the next time you guys hear from me, I'm bye. We talked about strokes. We I just did after making fun of LeBron to the extent that I did now over multiple shows. I had a worse end of an episode than LeBron did in that Chicago Bulls game.